What I said was I didn't think Caitlin or Angel would come into the league and dominate immediately, which I don't think either of them did. I feel like after the break, I still don't think she's dominating. But those are hell of a number.
Those are hell of a numbers.
But to me, that's not dominating.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. God have mercy on your soul.
When discussing Caitlin Clark's rookie season, it has exceeded all expectations from the doubters as well as the fans, as thus far averaging 19 points per game and 8 assists, both those marks being top 10 in the league. And the majority of the Clark detractors, the Clark naysayers, for about a couple of months, they've been hiding in the shadows, just waiting for the moment to strike. Case in point with one Sheryl Swoopes.
Because I know people are like, oh my God, you said she wouldn't be good. But I didn't say she wouldn't be good. What I said was I didn't think Caitlin or Angel would come into the league and dominate immediately, which I don't think either of them did.
So that right there is Sheryl Swoopes doubling, tripling, and quadrupling down on her awful Caitlin Clark takes. And again, Sheryl moving the goalpost ever so slightly. As saying Clark isn't dominating to slight her on that, is once again Sheryl kind of coping with the fact Caitlin Clark is just that good. As looking at Clark this year, 19.5 points, 8.4 assists, 5.7 boards on impeccable shooting. Clark as a rookie compared the entire league, 8th in points, 1st in assists, 1st in points generated, 7th in true shooting percentage among guards, 1st in three-pointers made, and 4th in fourth quarter points per game. Caitlin Clark, for any player standards, has had a dominant season. Not just rookies, but all-stars and superstar players. She's been dominant.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal.
And here's the pretty funny part about Sheryl Swoopes saying Caitlin Clark isn't dominant. If she truly believes that, truly thinks that, then Sheryl herself at any point in her career was not dominant for her standards. As looking at Sheryl's best year, it is marginally better than Caitlin Clark as a rookie. My overall point being Sheryl Swoopes in her prime, yes, she was dominant, an MVP player. The same way Caitlin Clark as a rookie, who's very comparable to Swoopes, is also dominant. Both those players were dominant players. But unfortunately for Swoopes, can't say that about Caitlin Clark for some unknown reason.
When we're talking about Caitlin, we're talking about when she said dominate, when we're saying dominate, we're thinking what she does in college.
Score the ball.
She's dominated college, right?
No, she dominated in college.
She dominated. So when she says you won't come here and dominate off the rip, averaging 17 is not dominated compared to averaging 30-something for 4 straight years.
But that was also like the first half of the season. I feel like after the break, I still don't think she's dominating, but she's a different player than she was in the first half of the season.
Let the hate flow through you.
Now, stopping Sheryl right there, she was beginning to make sense, making a coherent point, but of course, diverts into absolute insanity. As saying Caitlin Clark post-All-Star break isn't dominant. I mean, if Clark post-All-Star break isn't dominant, there's no player in this league history who has been dominant. As Clark post the break, 24.7 points, 8.9 assists, 5.5 boards on nearly 60% true shooting percentage. Clark in that stretch, 3rd in points per game behind Mitchell and Asia Wilson, 1st in assists, 1st in threes made, had a 30-12 game, the first of its kind, 5 double-doubles, and 1 triple-double. In her most recent game, scored 35 points, which is pretty important to note, is one more than Sheryl Swoopes' career high of 34 points.
No. It's not true. That's impossible.
If you don't think Clark post-All-Star break is dominating, I mean, you're smoking rocks, living in another realm, you're not dealing in reality. If that's the case, even Asia Wilson, the MVP, isn't dominating. What this comes down to is Sheryl Swoopes moving the goalpost and changing definitions. And this word, dominate, dominance, the most dominant, that word is so subjective, it can mean whatever you want. And for Swoopes, takes full advantage of that in every single clip.
She averaged 31.6, 7.4 rebounds, 9 assists, right? Did anyone expect her to do that in WNBA?
Those three? No.
Right? So she didn't do that.
No.
Now, if we say her stats are today, what?
20 points, 8.4 assists, 6 rebounds.
That's crazy.
But 5
That's crazy.
Five
Is
point,
that dominant?
5.6
Those are
turnovers,
hell of a
too.
number.
Those are hell
For
of
a
a numbers.
rookie.
But to me, that's not
Period.
dominating.
I'm gonna tell you something about me, Joe Rogan, that you might not know. I smoke rocks.
If we're going to start comparing college stats versus pro stats, that changes the entire history of sports as we know it. As saying someone like Clark in college who averaged 30 isn't dominant now for doing the same thing in the pros, it's completely asinine. For example, look at someone like Larry Bird. Bird's college career, 30 points, 13 boards, and 5 assists on phenomenal shooting. Now, Larry Bird in the NBA not once his career averaged 30 or over 11 boards per game. In his first 5 years, here are his average numbers in those seasons. 22.6 points, 10.7 boards, 5.6 dimes on very good shooting. Now, Bird's college numbers, they dwarf his pro numbers. But Larry's first 5 years, was he not a dominant player despite diminished stats compared to college? Of course he was, as in his first 5 years was an MVP, 2-time champion, Finals MVP, 5-time first-team All-NBA, and 3-time All-Defensive. Comparing college stats versus pro stats, it makes 0 sense.
No rookie is in dominating form, right? When we're saying dominating, you go through history and they say, well, Candace Parker dominated her rookie year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cap.
You don't feel that.
She was great her rookie year. She was better than expected her rookie year. But if you take her rookie year compared to her dominating year, is it?
Can we say
dominating?
this?
But if you
Can we
win
say
the
this?
MVP, you can't. You wouldn't say that she dominated.
Yes.
So her best year was her rookie year?
I'm not saying it was her best year,
Was
but
her-
if I
it
come
was-
in as
it
a
was-
rookie and I'm the
was
most
it her best
valuable,
year?
but if I'm the most valuable player in the league, how can you say I didn't dominate the league that year?
Is it your best year?
No.
Your best year is your most dominating year, right?
But why can't I have 5 dominating years?
Thank you!
So stopping that clip right there, just utter nonsense and awful take after awful take. And looking at someone like Candace Parker as a rookie, 2008, as a rookie, she was the MVP. I don't care rookie, 5th year, 10th year, 20th year, if you win the MVP, you are dominant. The problem with this entire debate, one person's definition of dominant is different from the next. Sheryl's different from Gilbert's from Sheryl's, and Sheryl's from Rashad's. There's no clear-cut definition of what being dominant means. And my biggest gripe with Gilbert right here, his definition of dominance is comparing the player versus themselves. For him, dominance isn't a baseline term. If you're looking at someone like Clark as a rookie, she is dominant compared to contemporaries. Now compared to Clark herself in the future, as a rookie, might not be as dominant. I mean, look at someone like Jordan as a rookie, 28 points per game, led the NBA in points, was a great player from day one. I would say a dominant player from day one. Now, that version of Jordan, was the most dominant, the best version of Jordan? Of course not. But still, Jordan as a rookie met that baseline criteria of being dominant. The same thing with Clark.
Is there going to be a point in time where she averages 28 and 9? Yeah.
Here's a good question.
No, it
There should be, yes. And that's when you say dominating.
Here's a good question then. What guard, other than Caitlin, is dominating the league right now?
Dominating?
Guard.
So, pausing it right there, Rashad McCants, an absolute mic drop that left Swoopes and Gilbert completely dumbfounded. And finally, Rashad kind of pinned them down on what dominance actually means. And when he did that, they were left kind of speechless. The problem with Sheryl and Gilbert's argument of saying Clark isn't dominant, they can't point to one player who actually fits the criteria of being dominant. Because if they did that, then Clark would have a baseline comparison of actually being dominant. And here's the kicker, looking at other great guards, Sabrina, Jewel Lloyd, Arike, Kalia Cooper, Kelsey Plum, those players as guards Clark already has surpassed them. If you're going to say Clark isn't dominant as a guard, as a player, Sabrina, Jewel, Cooper, Plum, all those great guard players also aren't dominant.
So here's what I would tell you.
Okay, so
you're
guard?
saying,
I'm saying between
listen,
the
you're
points-
saying right now.
Right now, what?
I would also say this: Kelsey Mitchell is
Right there.
Pretty good.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. But-
so you got Enrique,
Enrique,
you got
Wale,
Kelsey, you got Kennedy.
Enrique, probably Enrique.
Enrique for
but
sure.
we have
So, stopping right there very quickly, Gilbert's definition of a dominant guard player is, of course, Enrique. And look, Enrique is a great player. But if you're going to call her dominant and Clark not dominant, that's a kind of a flimsy argument. As looking at Enrique, 22.2 points, 5.1 assists, 4.6 boards on subpar shooting compared to Clark. Now for Sheryl and Gilbert, Enrique is considered a dominant guard. But get this, Caitlin Clark post All-Star break, averaging more points, more assists, more boards on better shooting, that to them is not considered dominant.
probably Enrique.
Enrique for
but
sure.
we have to.
I feel like after the break, I still don't think she's dominating.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
If you want to know why Swoopes and Gilbert have no defined definition of dominance, this right here is the reason. If they pick some player who's quote-unquote dominant, most likely Clark is going to have better numbers, better overall production than said player. Case in point, with a comparison versus Enrique post All-Star break. So, as always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.